Hello, and today we will be reading FoxCraft The Taken by Inbal Iserles. This is the cover. It's a very interesting book. This is book 1. Now, I got this book from the book fair. Schooltastic. I'm not going to make this intro really long because I want to get reading. So, here we go. Chapter 1. My paws slipped on dry earth. I kicked up shrouds of dust as I hurtled toward the fence, swerving to avoid it. I righted myself and dived under the splintering dead wood. My pursuer was gaining on me as I grasped for the wild way, the tangle of greenery on the other side. I caught the rich aroma of hazel and cedar, the quiet and peace of the world beyond the web of grass. His shrill cry shattered the silence. With a surge of panic, I squeezed beneath the fence, clods of soil clasped at my belly, tugging me back. My heart thundered in my ears. For an instant, the dead wood enclosed me, pinning me to the earth. The grass mocked me, tickling my whiskers. With a desperate shake, I was free, lost in the green maze of the wild way. Stooping snowdrops bobbed on their stems, snaps of white light. I held my breath. A pointed snout poked under the fence, stabbing the air. The fox's amber eyes caught mine. The black slits narrowed. Fear murmured at the back of my neck. I calmed myself. I was safe. He was too large to shuffle beneath the fence. He smacked against it with a growl, his slender black foreleg reaching through the gap. His claws grazing the earth by my paw. I reared back, keeping my eyes on the fence. He couldn't go any further. He knew it too. He drew himself away, his leg disappearing behind the fence. I could hear him pacing. Flashes of his mottled red coat were visible each time he passed the gap. Then he disappeared from view and grew quiet. I was quiet too, inhaling the air. I sensed the fox, the shape of his body, the silver and gold dappled brush of his tail. I pictured the color in the eye of my mind and felt the bristles of his tail hairs as though I was touching them. For an instant I saw the far side of the fence and tasted the frustration that tingled on his tongue. I knew this fox like my shadow. My ear rotated. A bird was cawing in a nearby tree. It was large, its feathers glossy black, and it paused when it spotted me. It dipped its beak, stepping nervously from foot to foot. Then it arched its shimmering wings as though summoning storm clouds. With an angry caw, it rose in the sky. Wood shrieked. I spun around, my heart lunging against my chest. He had thrown himself at the gap. He burst through in a shower of wood chips. My stomach clenched and I bolted, plunging through the glass. I threw my shoulder over and saw him for an instant as he hunkered down into the ground. In the flicker, the fox vanished before my eyes. The air in his wake had a gossamer sheen, like light bent through the wings of bees. The earth was a blur of grass and soil. I knew his tricks and blinked furiously, catching a flash of his pelt. I rounded a tree stump in a flurry of grass. When I glanced back, he was in plain sight, his fur ablaze as red as he vaulted of the stamp. His breath was at the tip of my brush, but I had a trick of my own. I threw open my jaws and cawed like a bird with the shivering feathers. Caw! Sorry, that was bad. Caw! Caw! That was terrible. I'm not good at this. I cast my voice to the twisted tails of grass stems to the fence, and the earth and the clouds that gathered at the edges of the sky, mimicking the creature as best as I could. I zigzagged through the grass that snaked around my paws, pulling and beckoning, slowing me down. I gave it up. The cawing, it wouldn't fool anyone. I snuck another look over my shoulder. He was dangerously close now, his muzzle at my heels. "Peary!" I yelped as he pounced at me and his claws glanced my brush. I might have known that the bird call wouldn't stop him. I turned to face him, baring my teeth. "Enough!" I hissed. His eyes caught the light. "Not till you beg for mercy!" I started to run again, but with a final leap he slammed his paws on my back and threw me to the ground. I bucked against his grip, but he was stronger than me. "Mercy!" he gasped. "Say it!" "Never!" I spat. He pressed his muzzle to my ear. "Say it! Say it, or else!" "Or else what?" "Or else this!" He dropped on top of me, covering my face with long lashes of his tongue, licking my ears, my nose, and my whiskers. I growled and licked my brother back, tickling his belly till he whimpered and twisted away, rolling in the dirt. As I swiped at his neck, "You see, there is no or else. You may be bigger than me, but I'm cleverer, and I always win." He allowed me to assault him with gentle nips. "I let you win," he panted. "I know what a bad loser you are." "You're dreaming." I clambered to my paws and shook off my fur. Peary looked up at me, his head cocked. "Whatever you say, little fox," he geckered mischievously, a series of high-pitched, shuddering clicks. "Mad fox, bad fox, just another dead fox." It was something we often chanted together, though Great Ma complained it set hairs on her end. "I'm not that much smaller than you," I scowled. He hopped, skipped, and turned on the spot with a cheerful wow, wow, wow. Little fox, you'll always be the little fox." I sprang at him, but he ducked out of the way. "And you'll always be my foolish brother," I sniffed. He looped back to me, pressing the white of his muzzle against my neck. The game was over. I didn't fight him any more. I closed my eyes and let the warmth of his body seep into mine. I could feel his pulse against my jaw. My own seemed to fall in step with it. We ran to the same thump, 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 growing slower now. Thump, thump. Fa stepped out between the tall grass. I hope you're playing nicely together, foxlings." "I hope you're playing nicely together, foxlings." Ma appeared beside him. "Nicely?" Her eyes twinkled. We hurried toward them, panting as they licked our ears, climbing and warbling. "We're always nice," yipped Prairie, throwing me a look. Ma seemed ready to question this, but stopped when Great Ma approached. Like Prairie, her fur was mottled in thick hairs of silver, ginger, and gold that glistened in the light. Her eyes were watchful, and she seemed distracted when we ran to her. The furless? Fa watched her face for clues. We stared over the tall grass. The wild way was a narrow area, little more than a path of green between gray territories, dotted with a few young trees. The two-legged furless rarely entered here, but they were always close, baying, pacing, beating out the tempo of their noisy lives. The great snarl was their world, forbidden to young foxes, a rigid land of towering buildings and manglers with unblinking eyes. Snatchers stalked when the sun was up, furless with sticks who rounded up foxes that were never seen again. Great Ma pulled her gaze away. It was nothing. She lowered her muzzle and touched our noses. You play so rough, you two. Prairie, you're larger than Isla. I hope you remember that." "She's tough as a dried rat skin," he sniffed, giving me a friendly shove. Great Ma's snout wrinkled. "All the same." "I can hold up my own," I piped up. "Mad fox, bad fox." "Stop that," growled Great Ma. "The snarl is dangerous. You shouldn't joke about it." Prairie moved quickly to lighten the mood. "Isla's bird call really threw me," he told Great Ma. She cocked her head to watch me more closely. Were you imitating a crow? My brush thumped against the grassy earth. I was more interested in what Prairie was saying. It really worked? Prairie panted cheerfully. I didn't think it was your voice at all. It was coming from nowhere and everywhere. It was... One of his downy black ears flipped back. It was like the wind calling in the earth and the grass. I didn't know where I was. Then the bird call stopped and I realized it was you. I tipped my head and watched him. Was he teasing me? But it didn't fool you. My voice came out a whine and my ears were flat. You should have kept it up. You're getting too good at that, little fox. He nuzzled my shoulder and I nipped him gently. You both have fine instincts, said Great Ma, a hint of pride in her voice. She lifted her snout and her face grew still. Her eyes stared unblinking, the tensing of whiskers on her only movement. A breeze is rising, she murmured. It is touched with river and ice. The rain will be here by first light. But the air is warm, I blurted out. Ma stepped closer, her ears twisting so they pointed out to the sides. What simple lesson can save a fox's life? Prairie and I spoke together. Watch! Wait! Listen! The tension eased on Great Ma's face and she looked at us with affection. That's right, foxlings. Watch, wait, listen. The answers are written in the song of sky and the rhythm of the earth. She raised her muzzle and sniffed again. We have, I think 3 more minutes, and then it'll be 15 minutes. That's as long as I can go for... I'm trying to get to chapter 2. She raised her muzzle and sniffed again. I mimicked her, inhaling the fragrance of grass and soil. I sensed no dampness, only the mild air of deep sun. The clouds fringing the sky were white. I blinked at them, remembering from Great Ma's teaching that only the dark ones were heavy with rain. She must have caught the confusion in my face, as she gave my nose a reassuring lick. Fa trod next to us. We should move the kill. It's in a shallow catch. The rain will spoil it. Fa and Ma started toward the fence. Great Ma trailed behind them, throwing a quick, anxious glance into the sky. They were too big to crawl under the gap, where the wood was broken, even where Prairie had burst through and made it larger. They skirted against the edge of the wild way to the far side of the fence. There was a tree with a drooping branch that bridged our patch. Prairie knew about this tree just as I did. We'd wobbled along the branch many times, but he never had used it during our chase. Play had rules. We both understood that. Come on, called Ma. I wasn't ready to leave. There was a sweetness in the air. Were berries hidden in the tangle of grass? I licked my chops. Perry was busy with a stick, rolling it in the grass and gnawing on it like a bone. I sat, ears flatted. We only just got to the wild way. Fogg called over his shoulder. We'll come back later, Prairie. We'll come back later. Prairie? Isla? Prairie turned to follow them, abandoning the stick. I rose to my paws, a deep sniff, and I was certain there were berries. If I gathered a few and took them back to the den, the others would be pleased, and if I was quick, I'd still be there before them. Ma, Fa, and Great Ma had to move the kill. Crouched down, slipping between the long grasses, I followed my nose. I shivered with pleasure, absorbing the aroma of earth and bark, the sour tang of leaves and insects and their bitter shells. I paused to tear off some snowdrops, which always looked better than they tasted. A large green beetle scuttled along the soil, and I batted at it excitedly, tearing the grass with a sweep of my claws. The beetle was quicker than it looked. It scurried toward the base of the tree, where it was hard to reach, nosing its way between the bucking roots. I plunged my snout into the soil, snapping and yipping, but instead of the beetle, I brought up a mouthful of dirt. Forget the beetle, I told myself, my thoughts returning to the berries. I sniffed and prowled around the wild way, but the sweet scent had faded. There was a new chill in the air that made me remember Great Ma's warning of rain. Now, guys, I'm going to have to stop there. I'm at 14:46. I only have a couple seconds left, so sorry, guys. Bye. See you in the next video. Hope you enjoyed this reading.